Alright, hey guys, this is Bezmor again, and I've made a few videos on Seekers now, and I felt like commentating on this one might be a bit just too much redundancy. So I figured I'd just talk about some other stuff and let you guys watch it, and if you have questions, you can either leave a comment, send me a message, PM me in game, something like that. Because if you've been watching my videos, you know when it gets to endgame, there's really only a few good ways to kill people, and it pretty much involves sparking and stunning them for a really, really long time. So, yeah, I got a little list here of things that I thought might be good for PKers in general to know. These don't all apply to Psychic, though a lot of them do. Um, the first thing is, which I remembered because of Seekers using Quid Pro, is that how you can use Expel to free physical immune yourself without having to purify. Now, this goes for any class whatsoever. The idea was pre-descent patch. I haven't tested it since the descent patch, so don't quote me on this yet, but what you could do was, when you got silenced by something, whether it be a Psychic, if you attacked a Psychic and you got silenced, if a Wizard silenced you, or if a Seeker Quid Pros, anything that silences you basically, you could cast Expel while you're silenced, and the Expels don't stack. The Silence Seal does not stack. So what happens would be, when the Wizards, for example, if they use Force of Will and silence you, when that little 5-second or whatever silence runs out, if you used Expel near the end of it, what's going to happen is you're going to gain the physical immunity, but the silence is going to go away, and effectively what happens is you get immunity without having to waste your Bubble of Life Purify, or if you're a cleric, you don't even have to waste your normal Purify, anything like that, and that works for any class pre-descent. Since in Descent patch they supposedly fixed the not stacking magic glitch in the game, so I don't know if it still works, but it should. And that's a really helpful thing when you're getting ganked, especially when, say you got BMs or Sins coming at you, and at the same time there's a Wizard or something, because the Wizard is going to, of course, seal you up, and then the BMs are just going to go for stun HF combos, but if you just throw down your Expel, their HF gets resisted, and then, of course, the you get the physical immune right out of that, and they get a bit confused because they don't see it happen. That's the other big thing that's really nice about it, is it's kind of like invisible. When normally when you expel yourself, they see the seal come down and they're like, oh great, he's expelled, and then they try to deal with it. But yeah, free Expel is definitely a great thing. It's great for ganking, or getting ganked rather. And it works any form of silence, Sins, throat cut, whatever it is. So that's one thing. The other thing, recently, big shocker, I've been getting ganked a lot, and I've actually been getting better at handling the ganks, aka gank tanking in my new vocabulary. Anyways, my suggestion is, if you get ganked, you have to know which classes are ganking you, first of all, because that really makes a difference on the dynamics of how you want to play it. If it's a bunch of melee classes, like for example, I had 2 BMs and a barb on me at one point, and that is a lot of abuse to try and take, because between 2 BMs and, alright, so the 2 BMs are keeping you stun locked, and the barb is just constantly DDing you, but they are all physical damage. So one thing I did was I just went White Voodoo, Expel tanked it for a few seconds, and then that gave me like 9 seconds of immunity to their damage pretty much, which is pretty decent. And they weren't able to get a stun off at one point, and so I just waited for an opening where their stuns ran out and threw down Earth Vector. And then when Earth Vector goes off, now I've got 3 stunned melee classes right around me, and I went Black Voodoo, Psychic Will, and then I went Sandburst, then I went Aqua Cannon, then I went Glacial, then I went back to Sandburst, then I think I went Crystal Light. But bottom line is, it dropped 2 of the BMs, and then the Barb came after me solo, and I killed him after that, which was really awesome. And that was actually, it was a 3v1 kind of. It was very unofficial. They all just ganked me in the secret passage. But bottom line is, as a Psychic, you have mad tanking ability. Like, you are the Archaean Barb. I don't care what people tell you. You're not the biggest DD in the game, and you're not. You can be. There are ways, but like when you go to White Voodoo, you really are a mad tank, and you can abuse that to tank, then you have to find your opening, and I went for Earth Vector because fast, it's AoE and it stuns, and then that'll open you up. And just a comment there, I died. That was a Goth crit from Vortex. Oh my gosh, those things hurt. So yeah, I do die, and there are ways to kill psychics, so don't tell me we're hacks. I don't want to hear that. So yeah, anyways, my psychic strategy for tanking ganks is expel tank their opening hits. You know, you'll be able to block their HFs, or if they HF you, throwing down expel means nobody can capitalize on the HF except for magic classes. And, you know, at least on my server there aren't that many that PK too much, so it's not a big deal. And when you expel, though, if there are magic classes, throw down your magic defense charms, because they're really the only thing that's going to be able to hurt you while you're expelled. And you know, I always combine my physical immunes with magic defense if there's ganking going on. So that covers expel and getting ganked. I mean, oh yeah, the other thing about getting ganked, I mean, learning how to tank people is a good skill to have, because when it comes to anything, whether it's TW, PK, 1v1, like, just knowing how to live on your character is about twice as important as knowing how to kill, because even if you know how to kill, it's not going to help you if you get cut down really fast. So knowing how to use your A possibilities, knowing when to use your genie, which genie skills to use, you know, AD versus expel versus fortify holy path versus whatever, you know, my advice is, if you want to be a serious PKer, just learn how to sit there and take a beating, unless you're an assassin. If you're an assassin, it depends entirely on your build, your gear, and in my opinion, they shouldn't really PK anyway, so I'm not going to cover that. If you really want to know how to tank on an assassin, contact your credit card provider and tell them to allow you to charge about 1,500 gold worth and buy full rank 9 and put Jades in it plus 12. Oh, and actually, you're going to need more like 5,000 gold at the prices that stuff's selling. Anyways, yeah, my random comments, I'm sorry about that. So, let's see. Oh yeah, knowing how to survive. On the psychic, obviously, a white voodoo is the ultimate way to tank. I mean, you really make other classes look bad defensively. If you have high physical defense on your psychic, like, I just changed some of my gear, and I come out to, I think it was 16.8k physical defense, fully buffed in rank 9. I can bump it up to 17-something thousand if I switch to different gear, but I lose the offensive power, and when I'm trying to kill people, that's not really what it's about. So yeah, having that much physical defense on Arcane rank 9 comes out to about mid 16,000 for both defenses. And then, you know, there's other classes out there that can match that, like a Demon BM can, or even, you know, I guess a Sage BM, not as well as the Demon BM, because the Demon BM Bell buff, but anyways, like, when they use Marrow and then Demon Bell at the same time, they can have both their physical and magical defense really high. The difference is, they have to put Jades in their defense to compensate for extremely high attack levels, like full rank 9s, especially Psychics. You don't have to put any Jades in your armor because you have White Voodoo, which means, you know, if you make your physical defense high enough, and then you stack your armor with whatever else you want, you can do some pretty crazy stuff. And there's death number 2, yay for God of Frenzy, again. So I think that was 2 anyways. So, you know, when you're building your gear, try to balance your defense, but know that White Voodoo is your fallback. You can tank so much with it.